The Detroit Lions keep showing over and over again why they are absolutely ahead of the curve when it comes to the NFL, when it comes to other organizations. It's really funny as we get more of a peek behind the curtain because of podcasts, because of Hard Knocks, whether it's during the season, whether it's off season, whether it's training camps. I mean, like, we have so much stuff available to us. Beat writers are getting as much or more ability to get into and look at what's going on more than ever in the NFL. So we're getting that peek behind the glass. So that means what we get to hear and what's going on with the Detroit Lions, when we see these things, we see that there are things that they're doing that are simply different from other teams in the NFL. All right. And this one, seemingly innocent off the bat, is about Graham Glasgow. And he initially didn't think the Lions were serious about a position move. And as you know, last year he played what was his best year in the NFL at right guard for the Detroit Lions. And this year they are moving him over to left guard so that newly acquired Kevin Zeitler, all right, can play at the right guard position. And this is what's funny. He didn't think they were serious at first, but it's how they went about it. It's how they went about it that completely changes why this makes sense. Now, we know Graham Glasgow took what we all believe to be a discount. I think he did like 3 years, 21 million, something along those lines. Yeah, 3 years, 20 million. And then when you saw what other guards were getting that were doing similar production, now don't get me wrong, Graham Glasgow is a good guard. He's not this just remarkable athlete. I mean, he is a good athlete. I don't want to say anything bad, but like, he's not one of these guards that you're just like, oh my goodness, like, this is one of the best guards I've ever seen play football. He's just physically dominating. No, he's just a really good guard. That's what he is. When you look at what other people were getting, he probably should have been closer to the 3-year, $45 million range. I mean, maybe even 50. That's what other people were getting. All right. So when we look at that, we have to say, like, all right, he got a deal. Did they get him at a discount and then ask him to move? Based on what we're seeing, that's what most teams would do. That's what most teams would ask. And at first, when I was reading this, I was wondering if that's what they did. All right, Glasgow re-signed with the Lions immediately when free agency negotiation window opened in March. He had no desire to leave. And the feeling was clearly mutual. So, surely he would settle in at right guard for the next few seasons, right? Nope. Then it talked about how they discussed that the Lions would replace Jonah Jackson. Glasgow said, we'll figure it out. Kevin Zeitler, a right guard by trade over the course of 12 seasons, was signed to a 1-year deal. And then you have Glasgow moving. But that's not how the Lions handled it. Here's what they said. There's a possibility that we would want you to move to left guard, is what the Lions said. All right? But here's where the key is. Glasgow recently recalled, via Will Birchford of 97 won the ticket, a call from Dan Campbell before free agency started. There's the difference. Did you spot it? Before free agency started. Before they signed him to a 3-year, $20 million deal. Before he gave the Detroit Lions a discount. Before all of that happened, Graham Glasgow knew he would be moving from right to left. Or at least he knew it was a possibility. He said at first, he was like, let me talk to my agent. We talked for a bit, and I called him back, and I asked. He asked the Detroit Lions, are you just saying that knowing that you're going to move me? Or is it really one of those situations where there's a small chance that it could happen? All right? He asked if they're really going to move him. All right? Campbell told Glasgow that moving him to left guard wasn't necessarily the plan, but in figuring out how to replace Jackson, it was on the table. Glasgow said he thought it was a joke at the beginning, albeit not a very funny one, but he quickly moved to making the best of it. They let him know. And that is what the Lions are doing. They're rewarding their own by staying honest with them. They're rewarding their own by giving them good contracts. All right, let's think about it. the contract extensions this offseason. Jared Goff, 4 years, $212 million. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 years, $120 million. Penei Sewell, 4-year, $112 million. Sewell's is 2 years ahead. St. Brown's is 1 year ahead. Goff, 1 year ahead. All right? With Goff and St. Brown, they saved a little bit of money. St. Brown, they saved, I know, $20 million. Like Jefferson signed for $35 million a year. St. Brown would have been, if they let Jefferson happen first, St. Brown would have been asking for 34, but we got him for 30. Jared Goff just got paid $8 million less than Jordan Love, who has had a 1/2 of a good season, a half a season that he's been proven that he can do it. Meanwhile, Jared Goff has taken a team to the Super Bowl, 2 teams to the NFC Championship, and made 3 or 4 Pro Bowls. Like Penei Sewell. Can you imagine what a right tackle or left tackle, just a premier tackle position, is going to be in a year? They're going to save a ton of money on that contract. Then they recently signed Taylor Decker to a 3-year, $60 million contract, just over half of that guaranteed. So really, it's more of a 2.5-year contract, if I'm being honest. And then they re-signed a ton of people, and none of them were expensive. All right, this article was from a while ago, but check this out. Nate Sudfeld, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, Graham Glasgow, we already talked about him, Skip, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Khalil Dorsey, Emmanuel Mosley, Kendall Vildor, Michael Badgley, Scott Daly. All of these guys were helpful to this team. All of these guys were helpful for this team. None of these are a ridiculous deal. The only deal that was expensive in comparison to what the player was Brock Wright. And that's because the 49ers offered him a 3-year, $12 million contract, and we had to match it. That's it. That's it. By the way, Shane Zylstra is getting starting reps at times. He played he had some reps with the first team at tight end in practice this week. Further making and asking the question, is Mitchell ever going to play tight end for the Lions? Or is he going to even make this team? So that's not what's important. What's important is they reward their own. They don't give them too much money, all right? But yet the players feel cared for. The players feel loved. Why? Because the organization is honest. How long has this organization been that honest? How long has that been the way we've done things? We all saw the Barry documentary, right, on Prime. We all saw how the organization handled it and how basically they're like, at the end of the season, like, nope, we're done. And they're just letting people go. They didn't want to spend the money when they had a team that they felt was ready to make another run. Whereas this group of ownership, of management, of whatever you want to call it, the coaching staff, they're just being dead honest with their players. And I couldn't think of something that could be better. All right. So there you go. Just wanted to kind of emphasize the difference, give a video in the middle of all the what we're talking about that's fun here, and all the players that are playing well in training camp, and give you something that's just a little different and just proving that we are a class above when it comes to how we run our organization, and that's how teams stay on top. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you get this notification that we have a new video every day, though. Every day. All right, see ya.